SnowTrax is brought to you by Polaris. Think outside. Ski-Doo. Winter lovers, get out there and experience that Ski-Doo feeling. And by Hercules Tire. Ride on our strength.
You know, the Ontario Highlands truly does have great opportunities for snowmobiling. And I think that's why my parents chose this as their base of operations and why I continue to choose this as my base of operations and my home for me and my family. There's 6 different regions. There's so much different terrain. There's lake systems. There's all of this cool stuff that you get in one central area, and that really gives us just amazing opportunities for business, but also for family. Haliburton is where we've made home, not just because my family's been here, but because we recognize that this is where snowmobiling happens. This is where many of the greatest loops, many of the greatest saddlebag adventures, many of the greatest day trips, all of these different things start right here in Haliburton. And so why would we not base ourselves where we get amazing winter conditions, where we have over 400 lakes, so when we want to take a sled out, open it up and go fast, we're not breaking the law. Where we can use those lake systems to link up so much trail that in a day, if you want to go out and do 300 kilometers or 300 miles, if you've got it in you, you can do it right here. Ontario's Highlands is a place that all of those things can be done because we span across such a large area. It encompasses 6 different regions.
Another really cool feature of Haliburton County is this place called the Haliburton Forest and Wildlife Reserve. You may not have heard of it, or you may have heard of it all around the world. It is a very popular place, but what it is a 50,000 acre tract of land with a private groomed trail system with their own groomers. The whole thing is in-house. You pay at the gatehouse to ride, and you ride all day on these amazing trails that are groomed every single day.
If we don't get the early snow that we typically do, Haliburton Forest will actually blow their own snow with their own snow guns onto their trail systems. And you can go in there at any time during the year, buy a day pass, which are limited to only a certain number of people so it doesn't get overcrowded, and you can ride there early season. They have their own restaurant, they have their own facilities to stay overnight, they have their own gas station. It is a really cool and unique location. The other thing they have is a pretty cool snowmobile museum with some old iron in there that, you know, you can go in, wander around, check out, and have a look at sort of the history of snowmobiling and some of the unique products that flowed through Haliburton County. So this is a very unique thing, not just in Ontario, not just in Canada, but in North America and the world, to have this private facility with this many miles and kilometers of trails at your access.
The place is just the perfection of snowmobiling in a private environment. It's a really cool place.
It's always important to note too, whenever you go somewhere, whenever you're riding somewhere and if you're saddlebagging, or even if you're just going out for the day, you gotta make sure you got somewhere to grab something to eat, to fuel up, and to stay overnight if you're going on a longer adventure. And Haliburton is chock full of those types of places. It's really easy to access. Our towns, whether it be Minden or Haliburton, very easy to get into. And then obviously there's gas stations in all of these places. There's great resorts to stay overnight at with wonderful accommodations, and everybody is snowmobile friendly because we recognize that the back of Haliburton has been built upon snowmobiling and upon power sports for so many years.
SnowTrax is brought to you by Widescape, the ultimate snowmobile for enduro adventures.
I was told a number of years ago that Haliburton, and specifically Ontario with Haliburton in the center of it, is the biggest market for big bore, high performance snowmobiles from the OEMs. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know, but I do know this. This area right here in Haliburton is the king of lake running.
There's a lot of places in the world you'll go snowmobiling and you do not see a lake for, well, forever. It's just trails. Haliburton County and this area of central Ontario is not that way. This county alone has over 400 lakes, and we ride quite a few of them on our snowmobiles, which is pretty cool. They're staked, they're part of the trails, and they're just a great place to get out and have some fun. Yeah, we do, understand and adhere to the rules of the trail. When you get out on the lake, you're allowed to open it up a little bit more and have a bit more fun. You can bring that speed up a little bit, you can ride side by side if it's safe to do so. Sometimes there's some fresh powder you can get out and move around in. It's very fun.
If there's a low snow year where the trails can't be groomed as good as we'd like, or we're just looking for an excuse to hold it wide open, you can do it here. There's over 400 lakes in this county, and we run a very high number of those lakes from portage to portage. And I'll tell you, nothing's more fun than heading out in the morning by trail and ride till noon to a destination, get some lunch, then ride home by lake at 100 miles an hour. And don't worry, that's not against the law here. There are no speed limits per se on lakes. There are on trails, and we enforce that in everything that we do and believe in that, but not on lakes. So you can have a lot of fun here if you've got a big power snowmobile.
Our trails here are absolutely exceptional. We have so many of them, so many great clubs in Ontario, and right through Haliburton, over towards Lake St. Peter, over towards Maynooth, Bancroft, into Calabogie. These clubs put a lot of effort in to make sure that we have exceptional trails. And within that is all of these lake systems that we get to run as well. Ontario's Highlands is not that far from a large majority of snowmobilers. Whether you're American or whether you're Canadian, doesn't matter where you're from, we are not that far away.
So if you're watching SnowTrax and you're a part of our American audience, you're probably wondering, how far is this Haliburton County place to get to from the US? Good news, it is easy to get to. You can cross at any number of border crossings into Canada, like Windsor, Niagara Falls, Buffalo. Get out the far east side of the province, you can cross numerous cities and places where you can get into Canada, and really you don't have to go very far north in Ontario to pick up really great trails from any of those locations.
It's so easy to get to this area of Ontario. If you're coming up from southern Ontario, so easy to get here. It's not that far from any border crossing. It's not that far from, the big city of Toronto. We're 2.5 hours north, not far out of the way. All kinds of amenities, amazing snowmobile trail systems, and the opportunity to go out and do something like a big day trip where you come back and you're a wet blanket at the end of the day because you put on so many miles, or go do a saddlebag trip and stay somewhere unique and do these adventures that you might not think are possible. Come up here. Come check this out. This is a place to ride. This is the place to stay. This is the place to eat. This is a place that welcomes snowmobilers. And the reality is, right here at the center of our known universe of snowmobiling, there is a ton of adventure to be had. You can come up, you can enjoy our hospitality, you can enjoy our trails, and you can enjoy the heritage of snowmobiling that is Ontario's Highlands.
SnowTrax is brought to you by Princess Auto. Ideas, tools.
Here at SnowTrax and with my dad from SuperTrax, some of the greatest things that we do here when it comes to snowmobiles is the day trips or the saddlebagging overnight adventures. What's better than jumping on a sled, knowing you can head out from point A, you don't have to trailer, you don't have to, hook up to your truck, you can stop in one spot, start from there, go out and return right back. It makes life so easy and it's such an adventure. So just because we use Haliburton and Ontario's Highlands as our base of operations, you have to understand that Ontario's Highlands really reaches out and it's like the body of the spider and its legs go in every direction when it comes to snowmobile trails and the networks that we attach to. And that's what's really cool, is that we can branch out, we can go other places, we can do other things, we can loop into other regions, exactly what my dad and I are doing. We can branch out into, the Maynooth, Bancroft region, we can branch out into Calabogie, we can do all of these cool systems and loops and then come right back home, and we didn't need a trailer, we didn't need a truck, we just needed sleds and some gear for overnight.
Haliburton is really a versatile location to start a snowmobile ride from. You can saddlebag from here to any number of places in Ontario, and quite frankly, I've done it many times, go right across the Quebec boundary and go and explore Quebec trails as well. This is a really great location with offering snowmobilers different kinds of things to do with their snowmobile. If you don't think you're into saddlebagging and don't want to do that, that's cool. You can take off and ride from here through Muskoka, through Parry Sound, back across to Eastern Ontario.
One of the big adventures that we like to do, and it's a healthy one, is to head out from Haliburton. We travel across to Maynooth, Lake St. Peter, and then on through into Bancroft. And the great thing is that on this trip, where we ultimately make our way to Calabogie, is so many options of restaurants in Lake St. Peter. You've got gas stops where you can get fuel along the way. You don't really have to bring an extra can, although it's always advisable just in case one of your buddies forgets. But it's cool because the systems in between, there's all of these different places to stop. And then, if you get to halfway in between, which is roughly Bancroft from here to Calabogie, you can stop at any of the restaurants in town. You can get fuel there. If you need service on your sled, there's dealerships, there's all of these different things, which makes life so easy on a big trip like this. You're not way out in the middle of the forest, although you're gonna feel like it with the nature and the scenery. You are never too far away from a fuel stop, a restaurant, or a service place that you can get your sled fixed. So that's pretty cool. So the trip from Haliburton all the way over to Calabogie with, kind of Lake St. Peter, Maynooth, Bancroft sort of right in the middle is a pretty solid saddlebagging adventure. You're not gonna do there and back in a day unless you're an absolute animal, but getting there even in a day, pretty much you leave in the morning, you're gonna arrive in the evening, and that's exactly what we did. We arrived into Calabogie, the sun was starting to go down, it was getting a little bit cooler, but the great thing was we knew, hey, we're in Calabogie, which is another great center for snowmobiling, and they have all the services that we need. We were able to stay at a beautiful little lakeside motel that's been completely transformed. This is like downtown Toronto, really kitschy, transformational motel, super popular, awesome accommodation. And then we went into town where there's any number of restaurants, but we were able to stop by the Redneck Bistro, which sounds very small townish, but is actually just a beautiful little restaurant, bistro, pub, bar, awesome spot. We even bumped into some locals there and were able to talk to some folks who recognized the show and recognized us and, told us about the area. It's so cool to know that we can leave from Haliburton. We can go out on day trips that'll take us anywhere from 100 to 300 kilometers, or we can go on a big trip and head it all the way out, with all the amenities that we need and stay overnight and then return back the next day. And that's pretty cool. The adventure here is rich, it is vibrant, and it is ready for you to come up and get a little piece of. So come up to the Ontario Highlands area, enjoy our trails, enjoy our outdoor adventure, enjoy our hospitality, because it's what we pride ourselves on. And really, when it comes down to it, we're all snowmobilers at heart.
SnowTrax has been brought to you by FXR, brings you more. MBRP Performance Exhaust. Make your sled stand out. And by Arctic Cat. Share our passion.
After last season's introduction of both the 9R in the trail segment and Dynamics, none of us here at SnowTrax were expecting much big news from Polaris for 2026. The question we all kept asking ourselves was, how can you make sleds that are this good any better? Polaris answered that question for us by way of a new skid frame update for the XCR, a vastly expanded and updated Voyageur lineup, a new variation of the Switchback Assault, and a cool special edition RMK package. Let's start with the RMK. Now this one's pretty simple and straightforward, but clearly shows Polaris understands their buyers in this segment. For 2026, you can spring order a Pro RMK 9R or Boost, or a Chaos 9R or Boost LE model that includes new Barrant Edition front and rear bumpers and handlebar bag. The front bumper is compact, cool looking, and provides additional areas to grab onto when you're moving the sled around. The rear bumper is designed to be strong, adding exceptional protection for the rear of your tunnel, and the handlebar bag is innovative, providing more than enough storage locations for all your essentials. Now, when it comes to crossovers, we get pretty defensive when we hear about updates to the Switchback. It's been our favorite crossover sled for a long time, and we don't want to see it change for the worse. For 2026, Polaris is offering a 39-inch wide front end for the Assault model called the Escape. Now, much like Arctic Cat did with the original Riot and Ride X and what Skidoo did last year with the Backcountry, you can spring order your Assault with either a full-width trail front end, or you can select the 39-inch wide off-trail bias Escape front end. It's your choice. This is an excellent option for anyone who will spend more of their time off-trail than on, and it's something people have been asking for, so kudos to Polaris for listening to their customers. In the trail segment, Polaris has one major update for the XCR and a couple new engine configuration options for the SP models. For 2026, you can now get an SP with an S4 under the hood. We all think this is a great move. The SP is a popular sled for new riders or people who don't ride as aggressively as those who opt for an XC or XCR. So the more mellow, smoother, and less intimidating power delivery and performance of the S4 engine is perfectly suited to this type of rider. Now the XCR is where we get our big news in the trail segment for 2026. The XCR models have won our Sled of the Year competition numerous times, so it's always interesting to see how Polaris plans to make the best even better. This coming season, the XCR lineup is getting a new version of the 137-inch Pro CC skid frame called the Longtail. The name refers to the extended tail of the torsion spring that now extends past the lower front arm mounting position of the rails. According to engineers, this new design improves bottom-out resistance and on-throttle steering precision. Now, when you combine this with an overall 20% more aggressive suspension calibration, Polaris is claiming that the 2026 XCR Longtail is the most capable big bump trail sled that they've ever produced. If you were listening carefully to my last statement, you might have noticed I said the new Longtail rear suspension is a 137. For 2026, Polaris is using their newer dual extrovert drivers on the drive axle, which are as capable of limiting track ratcheting as the older design that required the use of a 2.52 pitch track. So for 2026, with these new drivers, the XCR will be available in 129 and 137-inch track lengths like the rest of their lineup. One interesting change to the XCR lineup for 2026 is the deletion of the 850 naturally aspirated engine option. For 2026, you can only get an XCR in a 9R or 650 power plant. Now, I'm not sure why this was necessary. Since the XCR is only available during snow check, it seems strange that you simply can't check the box for the 850 engine. All snow check sleds are custom ordered anyway. It seems like an easy thing to offer and a strange thing to eliminate. We'll see how consumers respond. Probably the biggest news out of Roseau for 2026, though, is the all-new Voyageur 155 lineup. Now, for anybody who's a mountain crossover or trail rider, this might be a bit of a head-scratcher. But the fact of the matter is that the sport utility segment is a big one, like really big. Last season, the only sleds that Polaris offered in this segment were the Titan and the 550 Voyageurs. Obviously, the Titan is a wide track and has its own target audience, but the 15-inch Voyageur with only a 550 fan-cooled engine option wasn't really getting people too excited. For 2026, there's an all-new Voyageur model that's based on the Matrix platform and features a new Backtrack 15 155-inch articulated skid frame and comes with 650 power under the hood. The new skid frame is based on the Backtrack 20 from the Titan, but is obviously only 15 inches wide. It's designed to be not only extremely capable, but also extremely comfortable. It's paired with the high-clearance 39 to 41-inch adjustable IFS and Trailbreaker skis to offer excellent ride and handling characteristics on the trail while maintaining its exceptional on-off-trail versatility. All Voyageur 155 models get an all-new rear rack that's compatible with traditional lock and ride accessories as well as dedicated accessories and is rated to carry up to 50 pounds. They also all come standard with a trailer hitch that's rated for towing up to 450 pounds. The new Voyageur 155 is available in SP, XC, and Adventure Ultimate variations. The SP does also have a 146 option with the IGX 146 skid frame from the Switchback. Track options are the Cobra 1.6 or 2.0 crossover. Now, Polaris claims that this is the most versatile and capable crossover snowmobile that's ever been built. Which is a bold statement, and whether or not it's true is up to you to decide. What we know is that it's addressing a currently open segment in the marketplace with a proven platform and exceptional engine package. So that's what's new from Polaris for 2026. Now, I'm pretty excited to see that there's some new models, some significant upgrades to some of their most popular models, and some consumer-requested accessories available for the mountain lineup, proving yet again that Polaris is listening to both their own consumers and the overall snowmobile marketplace and giving both so much of what they're asking for year after year.